Okay, we're continuing on in message 4 of Babylon USA, Babylon America. And in the first session we covered repentance and the keys to understanding these Babylon prophecies, this latter-day daughter of Babylon. And we went through in the second message Revelation 18, and that's the key to understanding. New York City is what it's describing there. And in the last session we went through Yirmiyahu 50, and now we're going to continue in 51. And I pray for your repentance, that you might have ears to hear and eyes to see, Yahuwah willing. Chapter 51, verse 1, Thus saith Yahuwah, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind, and will send unto that destroying wind. That's the wind that goes off of a nuclear bomb and blows down your house. You've probably seen the videos of that. Verse 2, I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, and make, for in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. So we're going to be encircled up both sea coasts by this. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth up in his brigandine, and spare you not her young men, destroy you utterly all her hosts. This is awful. Now he's saying against her that lifteth up, or against her that bendeth the bow. We're constantly bending our bow against those Middle Eastern countries over there. We can't find, it seems like America can't find enough wars to go engage itself in. We're now talking about going and bombing Syria, which is one of these nations. Going on, verse 4, Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, that they are thrust through in her streets. That's those that thrust through in the streets. That's that 1.2 billion rounds of ammunition that Homeland Security just bought, and Social Security Administration, and even the NOAA Weather Service bought. That's those hollow points. 750 million rounds of hollow points. There's like 3 for every person in America. That's what those are used for, not target practice. And after we're conquered, as soon as they throw up their hands, those rounds will find their way into whoever it is that's putting them into Americans. So, boy, I would just hate to be there after this opens up and breaks loose. Verse 5: For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Yehuda of her Elohim, of Yahuwah of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahuwah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath, and therefore the nations are mad. This Revelation 17:4 calls her the same thing, a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand. That's because we used to be his heritage. He said, we covered this last time. America used to be his heritage, along with Canada up there and that. But we spread the gospel and the word around the world. We used to keep most of his laws. We used to have honest money, gold and silver coin. We used to have 1% divorce rate, and we used to, in all 50 states, have laws to lock up homosexuals that wanted to get married. And we used to outlaw killing of your baby in the womb. That was... we used to follow a lot more of these laws. Well, going on, he tells you to flee out, by the way, here, and deliver every man his soul, and be not cut off in her iniquity. Don't wait for the miracle bus. You have to deliver your own soul. And if you're, and by the way, this is no decision for women and children. You men, we're going to cover this in Isaiah. He says, show yourselves men. It really takes some spine, some backbone, some, to deliver yourself out of that Babylon America over there. That highest standard of living has such a great allure, and fleeing off to some lesser nation has very little appeal for anyone. But let me tell you, if you do not, you'll be in the midst of that, and you'll be cut off in her iniquity. And there is a passage that says in Ezekiel that the righteous and the wicked will die. Yeah, I'll show that to you later too. Going on, Babylon hath been a golden cup, jumping down to 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. This is going to come suddenly. This is how World War III, if you do some poking around, you'll see. And if you even just think, The Russians, when they come up against us, they're not going to warn you and tell you ahead of time that they're going to nuke you next, 2 weeks from next Sunday or something. They're not going to tell you that. What they're going to do is take you suddenly. It's going to be a surprise attack, and they're going to give you a knockout blow. They're going to try to wipe out everything, because to do anything less is dangerous to them. You could retaliate and send some things back their way. By the way, ever since President, I think it was Clinton, we've adopted a policy of absorbing the first strike. That's right. Your brilliant military over there is going to absorb the first strike. Yeah. The first strike is going to be all over in the first strike. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahuwah hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare on Zion the work of Yahuwah our Almighty. Make bright the arrows. Those are shiny arrows. He's talking about missiles. Gather the shields. Yahuwah has raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. That's the Iranians. They still speak the Mede language. Check it out on Wikipedia. For his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahuwah, the vengeance of his temple. This is the vengeance of the Almighty. This is not them getting one over on us. We're finally getting our comeuppance. That's what this is. Verse 12, set up the standard on the high walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for Yahuwah hath both devised and done that which he hath spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. All of this is so true. The United States dwells upon many waters, the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico. Abundant in treasures. There's no more treasures than over there. Caterpillar tractors and Cadillacs and you name it. Thine end is come in the measure of thy covetousness. You don't get a more covetous nation. In fact, this is what keeps most people there that have some knowledge of this already, that know that this is talking about Babylon, and I know some people like that are still there. Usually it's their covetousness. They don't want to give up their work and the job and the big houses and the cars, and they know that to go to any other nation is a big step down. And it is. I grant you it is. But this measure and our covetousness, we have the highest standard of living, yet we have the highest debt. The highest personal, the highest business, the highest government debt. Our covetousness seems to know ends. We're working both ends of this deal. Yep. Going on, verse 14, Yahuwah of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. They're going to come pouring across the border from Mexico and from everywhere else. It's just going to be unbelievable what happens. He hath made the earth by his power, he has established the world by his understanding, and has stretched forth the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a multitude of waters in heaven, causes the vapors to ascend to the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings and rain, and bringeth forth wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. If you're going down to a church that's got graven images up there, boy. Going on, he says here, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. There's the name again. In my message 1, we covered the name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons for war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and will destroy kingdoms. He goes on to list there all the people. In verse 24, I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahuwah. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. The USA is a destroying nation. Did you see what we did to Iraq over there? We never did find any dirty bombs. We never did find anything over there, by the way. Saith Yahuwah, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but thou shalt be desolate forever. If you think America is going to come out of this, it's not going to happen. Here's where he's telling you it will be desolate forever. The radiation over there will be astonishing. All of our nuclear plants will go radioactive and all that. We'll have tons of Chernobyls over there, in addition to the nuclear bombs that wipe out the huge cities. This is verse